Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me video using the new Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette volume 2. That packaging is so boring. I don't know, I guess that's just what she wanted, but wow, this could have been so much more interesting packaging wise. Alright, so I'm going to start with the new Wet n Wild Grapefruit Mint Lip Treatment that I talked about in yesterday's video. This smells so good. I still can't get over this. Something that's grapefruit and mint smells this good because that just doesn't seem like a combination that would work. But it definitely works. Now I understand why every store that I've been to, the slot was just empty. God, that smells so good. I just can't get enough of it. Alright, I'm still trying to use up my ColourPop Pretty Fresh primer. Not because I don't like it, but because it's not supposed to be that color. It doesn't smell bad though, so I think it's still okay, but I don't want this sitting around any longer than it has to. It's too bad because I wouldn't repurchase it because of that. Because I don't want to feel like I have to use a product every single day. You know, I have a lot of items in my makeup collection and I like to jump around and use different things. But with this, because the texture and the color changed on it, it makes me feel like, oh, I have to hurry up and use this before it does go bad. Because I haven't had it that long at all. But it is a nice primer, but no, I won't repurchase it just for that reason alone. And I only had this for like a week and the cover cracked on it, so there's that too. Okay, I'm going to be using my AOA Studio High Def brush, and this is the F2. This is from any brushes that I have that are AOA Studio come from shopmissa.com. And I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild Photofocus Foundation in Rose Ivory. This is the original formula. When they developed the new range, the Dewy range, they changed at least some of the colors. Because the Rose Ivory in that range, I bought it, and the color doesn't work for me. So yeah, they changed at least some of the colors. Okay, so this is one of those screw top caps with a spatula. So I just wipe some on my brush. I love the coverage on this. It's such full coverage. I like the smell too. I don't mind if products have a smell if it's as long as it's not offensive. And you know, what one person considers offensive might be completely different than what somebody else thinks. I don't really know how to describe this. It just has a pleasant scent, but I don't really know what it's supposed to be. I know the new formula is dewy, but to me this isn't really what I would call matte. It doesn't, when I think of matte formulas, I think of something that would dry out my skin, and this doesn't do that. Neither does the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. I can get away with using that one too. The reason why I say get away with is because my skin is normal to dry. But yeah, this doesn't dry out my skin. I wanted to mention something about the Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette that I forgot to mention in yesterday's video, because the same thing applies to this Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. Did you see that? There's some kind of weird glitch there. Yeah, I wanted to mention that the pressed pigment colors that I've used so far stain your eyelids. So my eyes are not as red as what you saw before I started applying the makeup, and that's why I'm putting so much foundation on the eye area, because yeah, I used the Jeffree Star Blood Sugar palette. Then the next day I used the Jaclyn Hill, the Morphe Volume 2, and I got staining on both days, and then the weekend was over and I did it again, used the Jeffree Star one, recreating the same looks that I did on my Instagram, and those shades are ones that stain, so that's why I put all that foundation on my eyes. I'm still going to use an eyeshadow primer, but I want to put that on underneath the eyeshadow primer to try to minimize the staining that I get today. Next, I'm going to use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer, and I'm in the shade Light 33C, my favorite concealer that I've ever tried. And yes, I tried the new e.l.f. one, and it is very good. I think I did a video including that with some other products that I talked about in the video. It's very good, but not as good as this. What I like about this is you get full coverage, but it's creamy. It just blends like a dream, just melts into your skin. However, why does the camera keep doing that? However, one thing to note about this concealer is you don't want to put it on your eyelids. Like, you know how some people use concealer as an eyeshadow primer? You can't do that with this one. It's got so much hyaluronic acid in it that your eyeshadows will just melt off. So try to avoid getting it in your area where you're going to be putting your eyeshadows. It took me a while before I realized that, and I was getting like melty eyeshadow looks every day. Okay, so next I'm just going to put a little bit of powder. This is the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder in the shade Translucent. I'm going to use an e.l.f. Studio powder brush. That sound you hear is me just tipping this upside down and knocking some into the cap. Swirl my brush around in there. Just a little bit. It just gives you a little more coverage and just makes everything look a little bit more flawless. Yeah, I hope my camera's not going to start doing that glitchy thing all the time. That would be awful. Okay. And next I'm going to switch back to the brush that I use for my foundation, and I'm going to use the AOA Studio Sculpt FX contour stick in the shade Nude. So I sort of pucker up my face, and that makes like a divot right here, and I start the contour right after the divot and then go up at an angle like that, and then just blend it with the same brush that I used for the foundation. This comes in a bunch of different shades. This is the perfect shade for me, but they have a lot of other colors based on your skin color. Once this is blended in, it's just going to give you a nice, soft, natural contour. I like this because it's a nice cool tone shade, which works well with my skin tone. Okay, next I'm going to use this. This is the Sinful Colors Face Forward Blush Stick in the shade Cheeky. And I found this at Dollar Tree. You might be able to find one there, just a random one, but it was a few months ago, so I doubt that you'd be able to find it. But the reason why I've been using this a lot lately is because it's purple. And it's a nice pinky purple, and trying to find a blush that color is really tough. So when I saw this a few months back at Dollar Tree, I grabbed it. Okay, I'm going to go right above where I put that contour. And I'm going to use this BH Cosmetics 125 brush and blend that in. Side just needs a little bit more. Okay, now for highlighter, yesterday I used the Jeffree Star palette. I found a shadow in there for a highlighter, and the same thing happened with this Jaclyn Hill palette. And what I've been using for a brush, believe it or not, is this Real Techniques brush. Don't know what it's called because it doesn't have any information written on it. Oh yeah, it does. 200. How about that? It's a large, sorry, itchy nose. It's a large oval eyeshadow brush, but it's number 200, and this is what I've been using to apply my highlighter. So we're going to go into this palette now, and we're going to use this shade called I'm In It. And it looks, when you just look at it, it just looks like a white, but it's not. It's like a pink, it's like an icy white with pink reflex in it. So I'm going to pick some of that up on my brush and go right across the top of my cheekbones. Oh, I got the angle wrong on this one. I should have gone more sideways. What if I blend it out and try to correct that angle a little bit? Yeah, I like the angle on this one better. Isn't that pretty though? It's a nice highlight shade. Okay, so what have we got next? Eyeshadow primer. Trying to use up my Amuse Cosmetics eyeshadow primer in clean slate, not because I don't like it. I like it very much, but I'm gonna have to throw this away soon because of its age. So I keep using it all the time, but it's almost like there's no bottom to this thing. Doesn't that look like MAC Painterly Paint Pot? Very similar. For a brush, I'm going to use an AOA Studio High Def brush in E104 to apply some. Once the level goes deep into the pot, you pretty much have to use a brush anyway because you won't be able to get your finger that deep into that jar. I feel like it goes on better with a brush anyway, but it depends on the formula, you know? Different eyeshadow primers apply differently. Some eyeshadow bases work better with your fingers. Some work better with a brush. It just depends on the formula. This one I feel like goes on probably good either way. It has a nice formula to it because it's got some moisture to it, but yet it's not liquidy, you know? It's like a cream that blends that isn't too creamy. It's pretty creamy though. Not what I'm trying to say is it's not as dry as a MAC Painterly paint pot. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's go back into that palette. Now, you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that Real Techniques brush I was using before and pick up some more of that shade called I'm In It and just dust that on my brow bone. Now I'm going to take my pinky finger and swirl it in there. There's the color right there. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm just going to dab some looks like there's more on that side. Okay, so well, the first time I saw this, my eyes went right to this corner here. And I said, ooh, I really like those pinky purples and just the straight up purples themselves. This is a super, super deep shimmery purple. This is a beautiful, bright, shimmery purple. And then this is like a pinky purple. It's matte. This is a pinky purple. It's shimmery. And then this is sort of like it's a fuchsia, but it also has a hint of purple to it. So it's a definite pink-purple hybrid. But yeah, this whole section right here is where my eyes went immediately. I love those kind of colors. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this shade. It's called A Moment. And I'm gonna use an AOA Studio E122 flat shader brush. And I'm going to put that on my lids. I haven't had any difficulties with any of these shadows yet in terms of formula, but then again, I've only used 1, 2, 3, 4. I've only used 4 of them. And I was so thrilled with the way that this look came out on my Instagram page that I really wanted to recreate it when I talked about this palette for the video. So I've only done the one look, but so far, so good. And I mentioned this in a video recently, but for those of you that didn't happen to see that video, when I buy a new palette, the way I decide what I'm going to do with it is I do swatches. And then I just look at the swatches and I just try to figure out like which shades I think I'm the most attracted to, and then build a look around that. So these colors that I'm using today were the ones that I was most attracted to, and I said, okay, let's do a look using those. Okay, I'm just gonna work on one eye here so that it doesn't take forever. And then I'll do the second eye off camera when I finish with this one. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a Morphe M506 brush. And I'm going to go into the shade next to it called Therapy Sesh. Interesting eyeshadow names that she went with here. So I'm just going to pick some of that up on that brush and go into the crease. So the shade is quite similar to the one we just put down on the eyelid, but it's a matte. And again, I'm just kind of taking a small amount and building it up slowly. With these types of palettes that everybody makes nowadays that have pressed pigments in them, you kind of have to do it that way. Gone are the days when eyeshadows were not pigmented and you could just go all in with a ton of product. You can't do that anymore. Everybody's making these hybrid palettes now that are a combination of pressed pigments and regular eyeshadow formula. And I feel like the more time that goes by, the more pressed pigments they're adding. In case you're wondering, I don't know if I ever mentioned this in a video before, the reason why I go so high up with my crease shade is because my eyes are very hooded. So when I relax my face, that area is going to drop, and if I don't go up really high with the crease shade, you won't even be able to see it. Okay, we're going to go back to that area in a minute, but right now I want to take this Morphe M431 brush, and we're going to go into Good Place. Has anybody watched that show on Netflix? You know, that's not my type of show at all, but for whatever reason, I watched an episode of it and I really enjoyed it. And I went right through all the seasons. Oh, I'm just putting this on my lower lash line. Yeah, I went through all the seasons and then I wanted to watch this season, but I couldn't because it was too late in the season to come in to start watching episode 1, like on the NBC app, because it's not on Netflix yet. But it'll be this last season, because the show has been canceled. This last season will be coming to Netflix in August, I think I read. Okay, so I went right along that lower lash line, and I might take some of that away. That kind of went in a little thick with that. Okay, so I'm going to need a blend. Okay, so this is a Morphe blending brush from, I think it was called the Slate kit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around the outside edge hair and kind of diffuse it a little bit because it's got quite a sharp edge to it. So I just want to fade it, blend it a little bit. That's much better. Okay, now as far as that lower lash line goes, I'm going to take a cotton swab and just do the same thing. Just kind of blending those harsh edges out. Okay, let's move on to the eyeliner. I'm going to use this LA Colors Duo Eyeshadow Pencil in the shade Radical. So it has a black on one side and a purple on the other. I found this at Dollar Tree. This was part of that Through the Decades collection that I talked about in a video. So if anybody still has a Dollar Tree that has that, it'd be like on an end cap somewhere in the makeup area. So I'm going to use the purple. Curl my lashes. Actually just curl this lash because I haven't done the other eye yet. Went back to using Essence Lash Princess. This is the superior mascara in my opinion. So I had to buy a new one. Yeah, you're supposed to replace your mascara every 3 months, and man, 3 months goes by like that. Okay, I'm just gonna do this brow. We'll just keep going with the one half of the face thing, and then I'll catch up later. Dug out my Believe Beauty pencil, brow pencil and gel, and forgot how much I love this. This is in light brown. That's just with the gel. And then the pencil is pretty dark, so you have to go very lightly with it. And I know some people do pencil first, brow gel second, but I prefer doing it this way because I'm only going to use a tiny, tiny bit of this pencil. If I use the pencil first, my brow's going to be way too dark. And there's a spoolie on the other side. So now we can just blend that pencil in a bit. Yeah, I really like, if you've never tried the Believe Beauty brow products, they're really good. They also have a powder quad. If you're somebody that likes to use brow powders, they have a quad that has 4 shades in it that's really nice too. But I mean, yeah, the brow speaks for itself. All right, let me do the other eye off camera and catch up. All right, so did the other side. Next, I'm going to go in with my NYX Lip Primer. And the reason why I'm using that is I do not have a lip liner that would be a good color for the lip products that I'm going to use. Next, I'm going to use What Else? My Morphe matte lipstick in Mystify, and this is from the lipstick trio that I talked about in yesterday's video. It was part of the Icy Fantasy collection. So I'm going to do this for a lipstick. And I got this on Ulta's website. It's not in stores. And I'm going to go in with the Believe Beauty Lip Gloss in Tropical Punch. In yesterday's video, I had on that CoverGirl one that I showed you, so I wanted to show you the difference that it would make if I used this one today. So that's what that combo looks like. So I just sprayed some heat styling treatment spray by Tresemme in my hair, and just letting that dry a little bit before I go in with my Conair Unbound hair curler. You know, this was expensive, but I really enjoy this. I don't use it every day because I don't like to heat style my hair every day, but it's so cool. I did a video about it already, so if you want details, you can go to that video, but you can adjust the temperature, the direction of the curl, the length of time that it's inside this device. So there's a lot of different settings on it. And this button right here activates the curling thing. If I press this, it shows me like which direction the wheel is gonna spin so that I know which side of my head to use it on. There's also a mix setting, but I don't usually use that. I usually like to curl my hair away from my face. So when I squeeze this, it's spinning this way. So that means that I would want to grab this one if I want to curl it away. So I'm just going to curl some pieces in my hair here. You just press this button to like suck it into the machine. And then it starts, you still continue to hold the button and it starts, the timer counts down. And when it beeps twice like that, it's done. Whoa, came out super curly today. All right, I'm just gonna finish up my hair, you guys, and so that's my first look that I've done with the Jaclyn Hill palette. Very monochromatic. You have to really look up close to be able to see that there's sparkles on the lids and then matte in the crease and the lips, the shirt. Really into these purples these days. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Gonna finish my hair now. Bye.